Check it.
Live clear. So over here, that.
Welcome to Trench Training with Thomas Nee, all about focus, commitment, and will. One of the big things about working out is obviously participate at your own risk. This webinar is for informational purposes only. Consult a physician before performing any exercise program. It is your responsibility to evaluate your own medical and physical condition and to independently determine whether to perform, use, or adapt any of the information or content of this webinar. Any exercise program may result in injury. By voluntarily undertaking any exercise displayed on this webinar, you assume the risk of any resulting injury. Even though you can do this at home, don't. Thomas has a broad career in education fitness. He's multiple certifications experience, 18 plus years as a fitness expert. He holds certifications as NASM, the CES, the CPT, the GES, the SES, CPR, and AED, and also a second degree black belt in Aikido in Nidan and a certified instructor in Fukushidan. Did I pronounce that properly?
Yes, you did.
All right. Good stuff.
Morning. Hi, my name is Thomas, owner of Trench Fitness. So what we're talking about today is helping people to understand safely, effectively, and consistently exercising. So today we're going to be working out with Scott, and I'll help show you some of those techniques that I like to use about 18 years of doing this. So we'll have an opportunity for you to ask some questions. I'll be able to answer some of the questions online in between sets, of course, because today is about Scott. But I'm going to be sharing some of the stuff that we normally do with Scott about 5 to 6 days out of the week. So let me pull in Scott, and then we'll get after it. Thank you again for participating, and any kind of questions you may have will be hugely beneficial. So Scott and I work out for about 5 to 6 days out of the week. He wanted to go a little bit harder than most. Effectively, 3 days out of the week, 30 minutes of moderate activity has been clinically proven for weight reduction. Scott's looking for strength, stability, functionality in terms of his day, pain reduction in terms of his lower back, some other health issues that we also have to deal with. And we've been working together for about coming on 4 years now. So he's got a lot of hard work into him, and we're going to have some hard work today as well. So Scott, normally what we do is ask what he had for dinner last night. So what did you have for dinner last night?
I had chicken and veggies and rice.
Good quantities of that.
Yeah, I had enough of my usual portion from a restaurant here in town, definitely. And then plenty of water along with that as well.
And what time did you get to bed last night?
I got to bed last night at 12 o'clock, 12:30.
And what time did you get up?
I woke up, the alarm went off at 8:30 this morning.
So we want to make sure that you got fuel from the day before, and we definitely want to make sure you have the rest prior to doing something. We'll try to get questions like that out of the way so I can understand how the client's working before I start pressing on the gas. And my job is to kind of modify based on what I see, what he tells me, and what we have scheduled to perform. So today we're going to get right after it. We've already done a 5-minute warm-up. We're going to start doing some core strengthening and a deeper warm-up in terms of the pushing, the pulling element from an isometric kind of standpoint. So what we're going to be doing initially are 2 exercises. One's going to be the stability ball knee tuck. We do that for 20 times, and then we do the stability ball leg twist, which is rotating with your legs on the horizontal plane directly thereafter. But both of those will be 20 and 20. And I'll get out of the way and let Scott get after it.
20 twists.
Please. $19, $20. Good to go. So you can see he does that pretty well, and pretty easily if we spend some time doing that. And we'll give him about 60 seconds rest, let him recover. If you do have any questions, that would be a good time. I could check on some questions if you have any.
I don't think I've got it up. We'll pull it up later.
Good to go. Okay.
And we got 60 seconds between rests, is that right?
Yeah, so we're roughly about at 40 seconds now. We're going to be doing a lot of pushing and pulling today. This is a great opportunity for me to warm up the pushing element, getting him in kind of a push-up hold while he's holding, whether he's doing the knee tuck or the twist from the horizontal plane. So once we start to push pretty heavily in a moment, those muscles in the shoulder and the ligaments and the tendons and the shoulder and ligament tendons will all be kind of warmed up, not to mention also the core and the horizontal and the hip girdle itself. So coming up on 5 seconds. So by the time you line yourself up, we'll be ready to go. Relax. Great job. We'll do it one more time. Give you again another 60-second rest. So as you can see, just by watching how he's back, how flat his back was, that's what we're looking for, is being able to hold that pusher position without rounding or protracting your scapula. We want to be able to have to sit kind of depressed and retracted of your scapula while you're able to hold and either do the knee tuck and or doing the twist, which is important. So we don't injure, of course, your shoulder and or your elbows. So we got about 30 seconds left of his rest, of his last third set. And then we'll get after the pushing and pulling, and we'll talk about what that means. How you feeling?
Feel good?
As you can see, it doesn't take long to warm him up. And that's by design. That's by design. And we've taken some time. Initially, we started off with doing sets of 5, then sets of 7, and sets of 10. Now we're up sets of 20. It took us some time to get there. We have to allow the muscles to kind of strengthen themselves and, more importantly, heal what's going on with his back. And we do have back issues, so this is one of the most important things why we do it this specifically. Okay, that's our 60 seconds rest. As you can see, he's getting ready to rock again. Breathing. Nice. Great job. Great job. Grab some water, please. So that was our third set, as he definitely warmed up within the hips, definitely warmed up within the shoulders. Got his heart rate up a little bit, got his body temperature up a little bit. That's exactly what we're looking for. So now we're going to get into the kind of the main body of our workout this morning. He's going to be doing what I like to do is kind of a push-pull squat. Everything can be done from a push-pull squat. And what we're going to do is an external weight followed by a body weight exercise. So he'll do a dumbbell press on the ball, followed by a push-up on the ground. Then we'll do an alternating lawnmowers for a pulling element with the dumbbells again, followed by another body weight pulling element from the bar that we have over here. But initially, we'll start off with combining exercises in terms of a lateral raise along with a lunge, followed by a squat to overhead with the dumbbells. Again, the more muscles that I can engage with or have a client engage within an exercise, the more calories they consume. So people are sitting around and doing single arm bicep curls, not a lot of weight reduction, not a lot of effort that's being involved. Not to say it's not a good exercise. I'm just saying it's not the one that we're looking for in terms of caloric expenditure, okay, and or functional. So I'll give him the dumbbells of the 10-pound dumbbells we're working with because it is kind of a multi-plane, multi-joint movement. It's a little more complicated than just your normal lunge or more complicated than just your lateral raise. We're combining both of them together, followed by another exercise directly after. So let me grab the 10-pound dumbbell. All right, Scott, let me have you stand over here. I'll get this guy out of the way. There you go. So let's get you to face the mirror if you can from the side so people can see. So
That's right.
You're standing into a lunge position. Standing in a lunge. Again, let's see if you can take your thumbs away. Remember,
That's right.
We lift with their elbows. We're not lifting with our hands. So many people will do a lateral raise, throw the weights up, and then sink their body underneath that, which really isn't doing anything to the shoulder. What we want to do is isolate the shoulder, but not by lifting with the hand, but more importantly, lifting with the elbow. Almost like you're a marionette puppet. Somebody's lifting up your elbow and then back down again. So as he goes down, he'll exhale and raise the weight. We do it 12 times each leg. And come on down for a lunge as you come down. And then up again. Good. Remember, reaching out in front of you. There you go.
Leg.
10, 11. Let's switch. Great job. You can see his hips are coming directly below his shoulders, directly down to the ground. Great job. Good. You can slide that right leg back just a tad. Looks good. Great job. You can see his legs starting to quiver a little bit because they're becoming fatigued. All we're looking for is muscle failure, okay? Not biomechanical breakdown. We don't look for that. Okay, so this is squat overhead press. Inhale on the way down, exhale on the way up. One. Great job. So as you can see, the breathing is key.
Yeah, that's been really key.
Breathing is key. It has taken some time, of course, to teach. Everybody has difficulty breathing. I've worked with many medical professionals who have difficulty breathing. What we wanted to be able to do is cycle air. If I can't cycle air to help my heart or help my lungs, to get the oxygen into the blood, to get to the muscles, I can't even stand up or contract, as you can tell, just based by the complexity of the movement of the dumbbell squat to overhead, more of a functional movement in terms of working in your garage or working around construction sites or even in an office space, picking up something and putting it on a shelf. Ideal. You only have to do that once. We'll be doing it a bunch today. Okay. So now I'll give Scott the ball. What we're going to be doing now is the dumbbell press, followed by just a straight normal push-up. And these are the push-ups that people don't want to do because they're correct. So now we're taking a seat. Here we go. Here we go. And we do it individually. I don't let him come over and grab the weights because he's got enough work to do. I can help him out with that. So whenever you're ready.
I mean, we're doing 12?
You were doing 12, but you're going to come up and hold, and then hold, and then hold. Good. Perfect. So now we got straight push-ups.
Doesn't.
Yes, please. These are the ones that are holding and coming up again. You'll take a look at how his elbows are positioned alongside his body. Legs are straight. Inhaling on the way down. Exhaling. Perfect. Last one. Well done. Let's grab some water. They get your heart rate going pretty quick, as you can see. After we partially fatigue with instead of 12 at 50-pound dumbbells a piece, followed by 2 push-ups, and as you can see, Scott's built special, special than most. There's a lot of Scott that he has to push, which is a good thing. And you can see we're pushing really well, and he sure tends to shrink after we get started. So. Okay, so now we're going to grab the 50-pound dumbbells, and what we're going to be doing now after a short break, and it's coming to its close pretty quickly, is the alternating lawnmowers. And this is as if you're starting a lawnmower. A lot of things that could happen with the shoulder if we're not paying attention to allowing the weight to pull the shoulder. What we want to think about is if I'm pulling with my right arm, I'm pushing with my left leg. And we get a whole body movement into this movement itself. We're doing a set of 12, so that's going to be like 6 each side. And then you'll get to the bar, and we'll do kind of a inverted Australian pull from the bar, the iron bar. There's one. Shoulders back and down, pushing through the core first, and then push pulling with your leg. 12. And 11. Good. Got it. Got it. If you don't have a bar, a set of rings, any kind of a TRX will work as well. They work really well. We started out doing the TRX, but we moved to this one based on location. So, okay, we got 12 of these. 4 or 5. 4, please. I'm going to say 4 or 5 is determining how low the bar is coming towards the ground, which more weight that he has to pull.
Normal what?
Yes, please. And these are just 12. And 11. Take a seat. Good job. We have him take a seat so he doesn't have to overwork his back. Just try to get out of the apparatus. That would be unsafe. So roughly about a 2-minute rest, if that. Based on the next exercise, we'll start from the beginning again, which is the lunge with the lateral raise. He's had plenty of time to rest for that. It's just that his heart rate's up. That's all. So we're letting his heart rate come down slightly. Get him a drink of water. And to catch his breath. More often than not, people tend to say that they get dizzy in between exercises or in between sets. It's only because they're trying to catch their breath by holding it. When they're usually exercising, they're never really dizzy. So, or nauseous, one of the two.
All right.
Okay. So now, since we did the lunges from a lateral view, let's look from a front view from the lunges this time. And you'll be able to see how his shoulders are going to be parallel or kind of level with the ground as he comes down. Exhale on the way down. Take your thumbs away if you can. There you go. Great job. Switch.
Inhale all the way down, right?
Exhale all the way down. You flipped it right around 7, which was fine. Well done. Well done. Take a second. You got some presses to do. And we'll change the position with this as well. We'll turn towards the mirror so you can see from the side in terms of what we're looking for in terms of his position with his back, relation to his hips, relation to his heels as he's standing up and pressing the weight over his head. So he wants to sit back as far as you can, allow the knees just to sit where they are, right above the ankles, and then to press over his head.
Does it?
Please. Good, sit back. Good. And good job. Got it. Don't know if you could probably hear his breathing or his respiratory rate. He's breathing pretty good. One of the most underutilized pieces of equipment in the gym, the stability ball. Not too many people use them as often as you would think because it's a challenging piece of equipment. It's taken some time for us to stabilize, especially while Scott's kind of lying in a supine position on his back, requiring more, like I said, glutes and the legs to work, form that table, again, putting more muscles into the exercise, causing more caloric expenditure.
Is that a good exercise to use when you're sitting down all the time?
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, sitting on the ball, I mean, as he was referenced in terms of just a normal sitting, I have to actively sit up. I can't lean back like I'm on a chair because I fall off this thing. So you have to actively, which means you have to engage your back and your core just as passively, just to sit here while you're doing any kind of typing. So, but yeah, it's the minute we get on this thing, you start to feel like a kid, and that's what we want. We want to be able to introduce how playful it was when we were kids, when we ran all day and didn't have to worry about anything. Okay, number 2. And I got to work out too a little bit. I get to carry these weights all over the place. Watch your feet as you step in. And on the way down, exhale all the way up. Two. Last one. Let him settle, then you take the weight. If not, if I take it too soon, he's not ready for me to take it. He's 50 pounds heavier on one side. And people tend to move when that happens. Okay, so now we have 12 push-ups directly after. This is the tough part because your brain wants to say, I don't want to do push-ups right now. Becomes abundantly clear after repetition number 1 that I'm doing push-ups. You can't hide from that. Good. And well done. Good job. So that's set number 2. We got 2 to go, going through that kind of stuff. As you can see, and we'll say it again after he gets done doing the pulling thing. This isn't putting a big bar on your back, or not to say that it's not beneficial. I just don't do that. Because I don't think we walk around in our real world with bars on our back. This is more like the real life stuff that I would try to introduce, that this is going to be absolutely familiar to him in his real world in case something that he has to do while his heart is up and he has to do something different. We kind of subliminally put that into his system. So
Australians next?
No, we have the alternate lawnmowers first.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. That's called selective amnesia. deciding to forget. Okay. These are 12. Use your legs, please. 8, 10, 11. Got it. Good. Got it. Oh, those are heavy. What were you thinking?
I don't know. You handed me him.
I don't know. Nothing wrong with the transitional kind of settling himself, and what he does with this especially is, and we'll talk about that when we get done, he's trying to settle himself, calm his mind, so he doesn't have to worry about keeping his heart rate up. He's actually slowing his heart rate down, and he's doing that on his own. It took us some time to get there, but he does it really easily now.
Justin,
Please. Nine, 10, 11. Good, and relax. Good job. 60 seconds or so of rest. Now, to give you an example of what I was talking about, I'd like to use a glass of water or a substance with water in it that you can see. While you're exercising, your brain is probably shaking up a little bit. And what we want to do after the exercise is to kind of slow that down so it's still. We get really good at it. While we're exercising, we're able to keep that stillness while we're exercising, even though we may want to go here, but we're really looking for this, which I think is hugely beneficial in terms of our everyday life, in terms of dealing with stress, traffic, work, friends, family, the whole thing. How do we get from this in our real world to this every day? So that's what we practice. Again, that's the covert stuff that I put into Scott, that he doesn't really recognize that we're doing it, but we're trying to get to this all the time. We're practicing that. So I hope he enjoyed his rest, because that's it. That was your 60 seconds. We get to do it. Number 3. Happy Saturday.
happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Okay, number 3. Remember, exhaling on the way down, no thumbs, and we're 2 and 10 with arms. Good.
Ten or 12.
12. We got 2-0. That was a test. He was just testing. We'll do that periodically, and I think that I know he was doing that. Good. Yeah. Yeah. I got it. And we give the appropriate rest. We definitely don't want to start too soon. We're starting pretty good in terms of the interval between one exercise and the next. I don't want him to make a decision to get away from the lactic acid pain and do something different to injure something. So we take the appropriate pause. Once it goes into an extended version of that, we minimize that. Because I know what he can do. I know where his interval rest is, and I know what's most important is he's being consistent, as I mentioned earlier. Safe, effective, and more importantly, consistent. We like to stay consistent, and we do so whether he's in town or whether he's out of town. So, okay, we're squatting, going over ahead. Not to hear me talk. Let's get him back to work.
You talk some more. It's my least favorite exercise.
Right, right. Good. Great job. So we get these out of the way first, especially with what's going on with the shoulders, based on, he's holding up the machine, based on the muscles that are being engaged, the anterior deltoid and the medial deltoid from the lateral raise, all of which are going to be the supporting muscle group while he's pressing and or he's pulling. So that's why his shoulders are being taxed, because we're getting that first and then we're pressing and pulling after that. So the shirt has changed a different color again.
It went light gray to dark gray.
Okay, take a second.
And they have the AC turned off in here this weekend.
Oh yeah, they do. Welcome to my world.
That's right.
Life doesn't come with air conditioning.
I don't know.
Sometimes it does, but more often than not, when Murphy hits, there's never air conditioning involved.
Let's do it.
Okay. Okay. Watch your feet as you come out, especially your right foot.
Yeah.
Good. Got your left.
Yep.
Now we have push-ups, which is the push-ups been around for quite a long time. It's not the push-ups fault that somebody's shoulder hurts while doing push-ups. Been around for a while, so the reason why your shoulders hurt if you're doing push-ups is your shoulder hurts. That's another video. Okay.
I want my body over my hands too, not in my head.
Yeah. So we want the body right over the midline. Elbows close to our body, shoulders down. And 11. Good. So, yeah. 3 movements, times 2 each. External and then body weight. Taxing. Rest interval, shorter. So you're breathing now. There you go.
Let's circle back.
Yeah. And periodically we'll allow him to relax and stretch his back out. And what we're looking for is allowing the muscles back through here just to relax, kind of release it to pull onto the spine and over the hips. There you go.
One more pulls.
Yeah, lawnmowers, and then you have the pulls. This is the last set of 12 of these. We're cutting everything in half on the set number 4. Got it.
The banana's about gone.
Yeah, that's try to have a breakfast or something to eat 90 minutes prior, which is ideal, just so we can not have a big sugar crash or drop our sugar levels so quickly that we start to get dizzy, nauseous. So we want some fuel, something that you can digest pretty easily. Bananas are ideal; they metabolize pretty quick. 30 minutes prior is ideal for that. If you just want to make a breakfast lighter, but have only a banana prior workout, 30 minutes prior. Nothing fibrous, nothing like an apple. Tried it. It's no fun. It's no fun.
I usually grab 3 or 4 bananas and eat them. Because we usually work out at noon to 1.
Sure.
So 9, grab a banana, 10, eat a banana. 11, have a banana, and then 1 right before I walk in.
Right.
This morning we got started a little earlier, so I had 2 at 8:30, and then 2 right before 10 o'clock.
We gave a heads up. He had an idea of what we're going to be doing tonight, so we got the polls to do it.
I know.
Just in case somebody forgot.
Creative rest right there.
Yeah,
Straight leg, right?
pretty close. If we tilt the camera.
Yeah, there we go. Well, we always do creative special effects.
Good job.
You want to talk about how I did these things lately?
Yeah. And we'll get into that progression. Okay. We'll get into that progression. We get into things like that, but yeah, great point. We'll break down some of that stuff. So in terms of some of the progressions that you want to do, you can't, it's very difficult for someone if you haven't consistently exercised throughout at least 6 months to over a year to be able to do a full leg or full body position, kind of Australian pull from your shoulders to your heels and everything extended. It's quite taxing. More importantly, the muscular condition, you can't injure your back or injure your hip or the back of your knee. We don't want to do as well. So we'll give him roughly about 45 seconds, and then we'll do his last 4th set. What I like to do is still stay with the movements, but we're going to cut up all the repetitions in half. So he still gets to study the movements. I get to take some of the intensity away, and we kind of get a biomechanical cool down. So he's still understanding what it takes to do these movements, and more importantly, back to back. So taking the foot off the gas a little bit, we press the gas. As you can see, we're there. Muscle fatigue is what we're looking for. If that happens within 30, 40 minutes, no reason that we need to press it any further. That's reality TV, and that's ineffective in my understanding.
We don't want to risk an injury.
No. It's all coming down to, safe, effectively, and more importantly, consistently. So if you can't run 26 miles every single day, but you think you can, maybe it's why you think you need to run 26 miles every single day. Okay. There's your 4-minute rest. Last time here. So now we're going to do 6 each leg, and then a total of 6 dumbbell
press
squats to overhead presses. These are easy. What are you doing 6? You're doing it in half.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ready? Exhale on the way down, right?
Exhale on the way down. Good. Ooh. Yeah. The sooner we go, the sooner we can put them in a rearview mirror. 6. That's it. Just 6. Good. Got it. Give him a chance to rest. These next moves are pretty taxing based on just on the weight that he's moving. Even though we're cutting the reps in half, as you can see, we got to muscle fatigue. Mission successful this morning. My job is to take care of his heart, to make sure guiding him through these exercises and to help him do them safely and effectively and get out of his way. The whole concept of a fitness trainer standing in somebody's workspace screaming at them because they need to do more, that's not reality. That doesn't really, I can't say it doesn't happen because I'm sure it does happen, but that's not my job. My job is to teach somebody how to do this on their own, that you really don't need me, as a safe and effective way that get you where you want to go as safely and effectively as we can. Last time here. Just 6. Great job. 6 push-ups, please. I got this back. We won't be needing it anymore unless we're stretching it. Relax. Great job. Good job. Put your glad those are over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give him a chance to get his heart rate back a little bit. No reason to be careless or reckless finishing up our day today, especially with the 2 movements he has to do, even though we're cutting the reps in half. Crazy things can happen with 1 repetition. And I can't tell you how many times I've done it. 1 repetition. All you had to do was stop.
What's next?
You got the lawnmowers and you got the prints.
Let's do them.
Here we go. Got it?
Yep.
Smart now. 3, 4, 5, and relax. Got it. The urge to raise your hips. When you have that urge, see if you can just bypass that.
Lock my back up. Lock it tight.
Yes, please. Core, legs, elbows. Core, legs, elbows. That's it. Last 6 of the day. Perfect. 4, and relax. Great job. Those are done. Outstanding. Grab some water, please. So now what we normally do is to use the stability ball more as a stretching tool now. We have a series of 2 stretches that we do on the ball. And it's lying down the ball for the lateral chain, in terms of the lateral chain of the human system, especially along the core and all the arms and legs, stuff that he's had to do today. We want to get him on the ball so we can relax, more importantly. Relaxing all the muscles along his spine so we can relax all through here. So any tightness that's actually holding at the vertebrae can kind of release, and it helps him, like we mentioned earlier, with that stillness of the water. It helps him to slow his brain down. And knowing that he's able to slow his heart rate down to allow his muscles to relax, to allow the pull to minimize or at least decrease its pull on the spine itself. Okay, so whenever you're ready, let's just cool down and take a stretch on that ball. Then we'll go to the bar. And you'll hold the stretch for about 20 seconds apiece. He's got 2 stretches each side. And you hold for about 20 seconds apiece. Let's go side to side so they can see that. There you go. Perfect. Good. All through here is what we're looking for. Lateral chain. His legs. Allowing his spine just to relax. And then he'll twist in terms of the horizontal plane. So now we get a cross, pull, or relaxation of his back so he can open up his spine as well.
Hips and back just popped.
Yeah. He just mentioned that his hip and back just popped, which is exactly what we're looking for. And that's kind of a pre-stage before he does the other side. He likes to calm his brain down when he does the other side. So from the rear view or posterior view, same thing. You can see just by the pull of his shirt what's happening to the muscles of his back and his spine. And you probably can hear his breathing. He's trying to slow it down by deep breathing through his nose and exhale through his mouth.
Back popped again.
So now his back just said he popped again. Again, now we're looking for that horizontal plane kind of turning or twisting at his back and his hips and his shoulder. Here we go. Good to go. So now we're going to stretch on the bar. Lastly, today, go to 5 because you got 5. So we'll hold on to the bar, and this is some stretches that I stole from it's called a pre-core back stretcher. We don't have one here, but we can make believe we have one by using this bar, by using our body weight, by leaning back. Again, allowing just the weight of the body and the weight of the hips and his legs to actually release the pull of his lower back and the vertebrae of his lumbar.
Okay, we want to do this. We want to do this, right?
Yeah.
I would probably say this is the number one exercise that helped me travel more than anything else.
Right.
It's not the inverted chairs you see a lot of people have.
Right.
It's this exercise because I can do it if I've got 2 doors I can lean against.
Sure.
The sink. I grab the sink is my favorite in my hotel
The
room.
sink's a great one because the sink's tough. They have to.
And if I pull it out of the wall, something seriously wrong.
Right. You could put. Well, he probably could if you had to. But
I wanted to.
And it's a three stretch exercise. It's just allowing himself to allow his hips just to hang with gravity, allow the pull in his lower back, lumbar spine. So now he's going to cross his hands, which now we're going to stretch here within the shoulder blades and the scapula and the upper trapezius through here, along with his lumbar spine again. And then he switches hands again. One last time. And lastly, he'll grab from underneath now. It's kind of externally rotating with the shoulder. Again, through the biceps, all the stuff that we worked today. And again, attacking that lower back. Good to go. Great job. Great job today. So this is just some normal stuff that we normally would do when we do external and or body weight with the functional element. We have loading days and unloading days. Scott and I work out minimum at least 4 times a week. Usually those are back to back. So we load upper body, unload lower body, and then we flip-flop that as the days go by. Even though we're working the legs on an unloading day, we're not technically taxing the legs, but we're allowing them to recover. But still, they're involved with a different type of movement that we can still move our legs. I'm not a big, even though it's beneficial, I'm not a big fan of just splitting days of certain body parts. It's not realistic. It doesn't fit in a lot of people's lifestyle, and that's why I basically form Trench so I can help educate people to show them the consistent way, safe and effective, more importantly, consistent way to do certain things throughout their daily lives. That it doesn't involve spending split days, on days, cheat days, 4 days on, 1 day off, 2 days off. Confusing, effective to some people, not realistic to most. And what I'm looking for is to help pass on 3 movements: a push, a pull, a squat, as you saw from what Scott was doing today. That's all we did was push with the dumbbell, and then we pressed with the push-up. We pulled with the dumbbell with the lawnmowers, and then we pulled with our body weight. We did the lateral raise with the dumbbells along with a basic body weight kind of lunge with the additional 10 pounds. And then we did the squat to overhead press with the dumbbells. So not really a lot of rest in between. We got the core stuff to begin with that helps when we're getting the abdominals, but more importantly, we get to warm up the elements of what's happening with the pushing and pulling elements of our body, both from an isometric standpoint. I'm isometrically contracting the anterior and the posterior part of my body just to hold here while I'm doing either the twist and with the knee tuck from the ball. So I found it to be the most effective. Gets the core out of the way. We don't have to spend a whole lot of time at the end doing the core because we've got done doing it. And along with the other exercise that we had today, all core intensive, all core based. So again, thank you for taking time out. Again, my name is Thomas. You can reach me if you have any questions, you can email me directly at teammatefitness@gmail.com. You just ask me any questions you'd like. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And again, thank you so much for your time. Have a great day and be safe out there. Thank you.
1 second before we wrap up, Thomas.
Yes,
Everybody's a little bit different in their fitness, right?
Everybody's absolutely positively. This is from a personal training standpoint. Great question, Scott. Just because what works for Scott will not work for somebody else. This is Scott's specific goals in mind with his health concerns leading the way in terms of what his health concerns and his health history will dictate what we do in terms of designing a program and help him with his health goals. Not just every exercise fits everybody. The push-up does work for most. I have people in their 70s and 80s doing push-ups, whether they're kneeling or they're on their full toes. Like I said earlier, it's not the push-up's fault that your shoulders are hurting or your back's hurting. You just need to take the time in terms of learning how to do the push-up correctly. But great question.
We had a question from Brady Dury asked, if he's sitting at a desk on the ball, what are some simple things that he could do to help with core, or some things that they can do while sitting around in an office environment?
In an office environment, which is really, really good if you're having a ball at your desk, but if you don't have a ball at your desk, basic shoulder stretches just to get your shoulders to move, right? And or to release some of the tension from typing all day, okay? That's a basic one, both right, and then both left, okay? A great shoulder stretch would be whether you're on a ball or you're at your chair is to interlock your fingers from behind your back, making sure that your palms are touching, put it on the back of the chair, roll your shoulders back, and just look up. What's happening here is I'm getting a really deep stretch through here at the pectoralis major and my shoulder and my arms. And again, like I mentioned with the water earlier, is letting that tension go, without getting into a lot of specifics. If you are finding that you have tension within your hips, and you're going to have tension within your hips because the hip flexor iliopsoas is going to be tight based on how often you sit, it is going to be holding in this position, because realistically, we sleep in this position, we get into the car, we drive it to work in this position, we walk to our desk and we're sitting in this position, and we get back out and go to the car, go back home and go onto the couch, and then go to bed. So we're spending a lot of time doing this. You can just put 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, put the heel on the ground, tighten up your glute, you should open up right here immediately. If you want to raise one hand, that also increases the limb length or the tension, or releasing the tension here at the iliopsoas. It'll actually help you to stretch this. But more importantly, if I'm adding tension, I'm not going to be able to stretch. What I want to do is tightening up my glutes so I can release here, but I don't want anything else tense.
The question is there like 3 or 4 basic exercises you can do if you're traveling in a hotel room?
Sure. A plank, 30 seconds. A push-up hold for 30 seconds, along with squats for 30 seconds. 30 seconds rest, do it again. 2 or 3 times, it should take you no longer than 5 minutes, and then get out of it. More importantly, when Scott travels, he doesn't have to do what we did this morning. What I suggest is 10 minutes. What we're trying to do, what he's training to get, what him and I training, is we create this blade that he's become, this really efficient knife. And what we want to do while he's traveling is not recreate the knife, just keeping it sharp. So that just means a couple of strokes, a couple of exercises to keep the edge on the blade. That's all we want. So when he comes back home, we adjust slowly but surely, and then we go back compressing the gas, and the same thing. So it's consistently, like we mentioned earlier, so starting off this program is safely, effectively, and consistently. How consistent can you be? It doesn't have to be an hour every single day. It has to be something each day. Remember, like we were kids, that's all we did is run all day.
I got somebody text me and ask me how important has my diet changes been to my fitness level.
Well, food intake is 60% or even higher in some cases, 70% of the overall equation. If 100% is living healthy, effective lifestyle, exercise is only 30 to 40% of the equation. If you're not I don't care how hard you're working, I don't care what you're doing. If you're putting in the wrong stuff, I don't care how hard you're working, nothing is going to change. So what we want to do is tax the body, allow it to heal with the food, with the effective nutrition. That's the key. So the huge key. So when people, like for example, Scott was unable to work, unable to do any kind of 10, 15, 20-minute workout, whatever in his room, he applies that focus to the food now, as opposed to doing push-ups or doing squats or doing a plank for 30 seconds. If you're unable to do that, apply that same 10% of that mentality to the food intake. Things magically happen when you eat smaller meals more frequently.
Or you could eat heavier meals like ribeyes and mashed potatoes, or double Crown Royal and Sprites as well too.
Usually when you're having that kind of stuff, you're really not that hungry. When there's those kind of foods with those kind of triggers, it's not because you're hungry, it's because something else is going on, which is way out of my pay grade.
What's the best way for them to get a hold of you, Thomas, if they wanted to reach out to you?
My email address is teammatefitness@gmail.com. Again, it's teammate with 2 M's, teammatefitness@gmail.com. You can send me an email, question, any kind of concerns, any kind of questions you would have. I'll get back to you, no problem.
Do they have to be in Austin to work with you?
No, they do not have to be in Austin. You could be anywhere in the United States. I work with people online, out of state, and it's easy for me to dial up for a video conference so we can work together in the same place. Again, things change dramatically because I'm not in the same room in case something were to happen. That's why we have to understand clearly what's going on medically and the health history and where your health goals and designing a program. I'm pretty good at reading people, so whether I'm in the room with them or I'm out of state, that's not a problem.
Cool. Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you.